right, welcome to today's episode of Tomorrow's Leader, where we dive deep on all things leader related to leading yourself and leading others. I am John Laurito, your host. Today, yesterday, tomorrow, every day thereafter. All righty, so I was reminded of the other day, I was talking to somebody about the issue that I'm going to share with you today, and I was reminded of a time. I remember being at a conference at one of my prior roles, and this was a conference, probably, 100, 150 people. We were all leaders in some respect or another, in some role. And I remember seeing this guy that was there, and I had actually seen him in different times at different places, on broadcasts, virtual meetings, in-person meetings, and this was a few months. And I'm just thinking to myself, I didn't know who this person was. I'd never been introduced to the person. I never heard any introduction. And I asked some of my colleagues, some of their managing partners, and I said, who is that guy over there? I keep seeing him around. And their response was, I don't know. I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, but he's been here for like 3 months. And so I went to another person and I said, hey, man, who is that person there? And he's like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I asked, it turned out like 2 or 3 other people. So it was, half a dozen of us that had no idea who this person was. So at the next break, I went up to him. I said, I'm sorry, man. My name's John Laurito. What's your name? I see you all over the place, this and that. He introduces himself. I said, well, good to meet you. I don't know why we haven't met yet. I said, did you just join here? Or did you come join a couple months ago? He said, I joined a few months ago. I joined I think it was 3.5 months prior. I said, yeah, I've seen you around. He said, what do you do? What's your role? And where are you? And I forget exactly what the role was, but it was something, when you hear somebody's title and you're thinking, okay, it sounds like a big title. I still don't understand what you do. It was like, director of implementation and, systems management. I don't even know what it was. But it was something it was a role that it turned out I should absolutely have been aware of, that this role existed, first of all, and secondly, absolutely known this individual, but I'll get to that in a minute. So I ask, and I'm like, I had to ask a few times. I said, okay, I get it. So your title is this, but what do you actually do? And this person had a really tough time clarifying exactly what he does. And I finally figured out what the problem was. And we both talked about this openly. I said, what's success for you? If you're here for a year and you've just absolutely crushed it and done really well, what's happened? And I felt almost bad after asking that question, because I think I really put him on the spot. He couldn't answer the question. He didn't know. He really couldn't answer that question. And I don't put that on him. I do partially because he should absolutely have asked that question, but I put that on the hiring leader, right? So to back up a little bit, here was somebody that came into the organization, a highly paid person, by the way. I mean, we're talking about not, 50, 60 grand. We're talking a couple $100,000. That was part of an organization that was to help support and drive results in the field. And I was running an organization, a region for this company. So I was obviously one of the people this person should have been interacting with, number one, on a regular basis. Number two, I should have known who this person is at 3 months in, and I should have known exactly what they do, right? And it wasn't just me, it was my other colleagues that had no idea. So it was just really a debacle. Now, this was going back a few years, and not surprisingly, the person after a year, I think it was around that time period, ended up leaving. Now, I don't know the circumstances. I don't know why exactly. All I know is they were there for a short period of time and they left. Now, this person was actually talented. They were a good person. This was somebody that I think was a real asset to have as part of the organization, and could have been. But the whole way they were brought into the organization was messed up. Totally just a disaster. I mean, a disaster. So here's the 3 key mistakes. This story and memory reminded me of this, and I think it's so essential for you leaders that are out there and you're bringing somebody into your organization, whatever level it is. Here's 3 mistakes I see leaders make all the time. Sometimes only one of these, and sometimes in this case, all 3 of them. Number 1 is this person, any person coming into your organization, has to be able to clearly define success. What does success look like? Not just short term, but long term. So I'm a big proponent on paint the picture of the path. So, okay, if you're bringing somebody into a mid-level leadership role, what does a doing great job look like? What does a year or 2 years down the road look like if they've knocked the ball out of the park? And then what happens? So what could, and you don't have to, it's not promissory. You're not, over promising and under deliver. It's okay to say, hey, listen, we got a lot, this company is growing fast. We're moving a lot of different directions. We move quickly, but I will tell you what I'm looking for is somebody who comes in and knocks the ball out of the park. And here's what that looks like in your role. And when you do that, there will be other opportunities, because those are the people that I want to promote in this organization, or give more responsibility to, or have more influence and impact, allow them to have more influence and impact within the organization. Okay, so that's number 1, clearly defining. And if you're on the other side of this and you're coming into an organization right now or about to, ask the question and make sure you're crystal clear on that. What does success look like? If I'm doing a great job, not just the numbers, because that's part of it, but what are the activities? What are you hearing and seeing and feeling as a result of me being part of this organization? What are other people thinking? What's happening? What kind of ripple effect, so to speak, have I caused? And if you're not clear on it, keep asking the question. Force the leader to really clarify it, because you're doing him or her a favor too by asking the question that they may not have even thought of. They may not have thought through it well enough. Okay, so number 1 is clearly defining success. Here's the number 2 mistake that I see all the time as well, is who should they be networking with, getting to know in the organization? Who are the key players in the organization that they are going to want to build relationships with? Okay, so from the start, that person coming in should almost have like a diagram, a map of, okay, these are the people that I need to get to know really quickly, because I'm going to be impacting their people or their organization. They're going to be impacting me, whatever the case may be. I need their help. I can leverage their expertise. You should have kind of a landscape of who are the people and where are their levels of expertise, and what would you be going to them for? There's nothing worse. It's kind of like going, it would be like going into thinking off the top of my head, I don't know. It'd be like going into a new town, not knowing anything, not knowing where anything is, gas station, food stores, nothing, and having no map. You have no ability to do that. You would have nothing, right? You have no ability to navigate. People should be coming in with a map almost, knowing everything about the organization, at least what impacts them. This person coming into the organization should have been interacting with me, definitely, right? Part of their job was to impact my people, my team, and my organization. Why would this person not already have been interacting with me? What were they waiting for? And not only me, but the other 6 people, and I'm sure many more, that I didn't talk to. It just was mind-boggling. So bottom line is, people need to understand who are the people in the organization they need to go to and for what. Because part of what they need to do is know how to get stuff done. They need to be a resource broker in your organization. If you've got somebody selling something, they need to know where to go when they need problems or have problems with service, or they have problems with delivery, or they have problems with learning something or understanding something or design stuff, whatever the case may be. Lastly, here's the biggest thing I see people do. This person should have been formally introduced in the right way. Okay. There was a total absence of a proper introduction. Now, I don't know, maybe there was an email that came out. Now, that's not the right way to do it. That's a way to do it. But this person, you have to realize, and sometimes there's nothing worse than somebody coming into the organization and not getting a proper introduction. It's like going into a party and you don't know anybody and you're the only person there and nobody's introducing themselves, nobody's saying anything. Number 1, that person doesn't feel welcome. Number 2 is it comes to a point like I did where I assume I should know who this person is, and I feel silly for not knowing. Did I miss something? Did everybody else know this person and I don't? So they start to lose their initiative and desire to go make the introduction and pave the way for that. So all kinds of really weird gaps on that, right? Bottom line is there needs to be a proper introduction, not just the title. Titles are just BS in reality. And I'll tell you, I used to incent people and motivate people with titles because it's one of these things that means a lot to people. It costs nothing. You can give people a title to reward them for an accomplishment and give them something that sounds bigger than in reality it is. Let me just tell you, titles are pretty meaningless because what happens oftentimes, these titles become so confusing. I don't know what anybody does. And then I give up trying to figure out what somebody does. So it should be, hey, here's this individual joining our organization. Here's background on them. Here's some of the stuff you want to know about them. Here's some of the stuff that's really cool and important to realize why they're part of this organization. Here's their track record and here's their background. Okay, right? I want to introduce them with their experience and expertise and some personal stuff so people can get to know them. And here's what they're going to be doing, right? It's not just their title, it's who they are, but what they are doing in the organization and how people should be engaging and interacting with them. That's the right way to make an introduction. And then that person has doors open and should just aggressively get out there and build relationships. So anyways, that's it. It came to my mind. I'm like, gosh, that was a disaster. And I don't know, maybe the person would have stayed and been a huge impactor because I know they went on to another company and did extremely well. That company missed the mark because of this whole thing. They made these 3 critical mistakes. So leaders, don't do that, okay? Listen to what I'm talking about. It's absolutely critical, and I see those mistakes made all the time. So I hope this was valuable for you. Reach out. Let me know. Let me know what you think, right? Let me know other topics or ideas, challenges you're having, things you'd like to hear covered on this, and certainly your ideas for future guests on this show. In the meantime, like, share, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Go down below, give 5-star review, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.